Hey, it's JC and we are live. Welcome everyone to the Evolve and Adapt channel. My name is JC Sum. I'm a hybrid marketer, author, and content creator. Great to see all of you here. If you are live with us on the chat, please do leave a message. If you're watching the replay, please leave a comment as well. And as always, regardless which platform you are watching this on, go ahead and just like and share this particular video. We've got a really interesting topic we're going to talk about today, but before I get into that, I'd like to make a couple of housekeeping announcements. I've got two new video shows that will be appearing every single week, and this is really interesting. We've put a lot of time and effort into thinking about something that's pretty unique and interesting for our viewers. So we've got two exclusive shows. The first one is very simple. This is a show where I'm going to do a book review. That's it. Seems simple enough, but I'll be sharing my thoughts on a couple of books that I think is fun but useful to you as well. So that's what I think you're going to get out of this. I'm going to share with you some business books, some marketing books, but as well as books that I think just will help you professionally as well as in your business. And I'm sure that you'll find that pretty interesting. So that's for books, but I've got something even better, something that I felt was really fun. I'm a huge movie buff. I watch movies every single week, and I'm always working and watching at the same time. Always have a screen off to the side with something running, whether it's Netflix or whatever. So I'm really big into movies, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we can find movies which have some kind of a message, something we can apply to work professionally at the workplace. It may not necessarily be a movie about business, although we will be exploring some of those, but are there any lessons that we can learn? Some that we see on screen and some that we see behind the screens. And aptly, this particular series is something we call Movies That Mean Business. I know, hugely creative titles, right? But we are going to begin this series this week, and we will be showing them on Thursday. That's where Movies That Mean Business starts. And on Saturday, we will do the book review. So those are two new video shows, and of course we do intend to do this FB Live, which will also be shown on other platforms, and that will be every Tuesday, and that's Singapore time at 11 a.m. But do check back with the Facebook page so that you know exactly what times the different shows are. We haven't decided what time the shows will drop for the other two shows, but do check out the page, like the page, and you will be able to find out. All right, so let's get on with today's topic. Today we're going to talk about something very interesting, and that's the concept of positioning for business and the workplace. So what is positioning all about? Positioning is the concept of putting yourself right at the top of the ladder in the minds of consumers. Now, positioning in terms of a concept is expounded by Jack Trout and L. Rice in their book Positioning. So this is a classic book. I definitely will be reviewing this book, and it's one of my favorite books, and it's I would say the cornerstone of my marketing strategy and how I advise businesses when I consult with businesses. It's always about creating a position in the minds of the audience. So I think the simplest way is to use an analogy, and that's to think of a ladder. Let's look for a picture of a ladder right over here, and I've got one. Nice yellow ladder. Now, imagine that a business, or even yourself, if we apply it to the workplace professionally, think of different businesses or people on different rungs of the ladder. Obviously, the one right at the top will be the person or the business which has the highest mind recall. And generally, you always want to position your business or yourself at the top of the ladder. I mean, who doesn't like to be number one, especially if you do want to try to get returns? Of course, it's easier said than done, but the concept of positioning is to position yourself. Now, I should mention, you can't really position yourself in the sense that you can't create a position and expect people to accept that position. You can only put forth your position through displaying why you should own that position, justify it, and that will give people reason to accept that's a position that they think you should own. So that's very important. A position is always conveyed by the marketplace or the consumers. You can't demand it. You can try to make a case for it, but remember that position is always conferred to you. So let's think of an example in terms of positioning. Let's think about hamburgers, right? So let's talk about hamburgers. Now, if you think about hamburgers, which hamburgers do you think would fill the different rungs? All right, I'm talking about worldwide fast food joints here. So remember, this is not necessarily about which burgers you think are necessarily the best tasting or your personal favorite, but this is what the market thinks collectively. Now, we think about burger joints around the world. You might think of Wendy's, Five Guys, In-N-Out, Carl's Jr. As I said, you might put them high up on the ladder, but let's just say, for the sake of discussion, these are kind of the burger joints that you'd see on the lower rungs of the ladder. What would you say, or who would you say is at number 2? I think most of you would agree it's probably Burger King. And who's at number 1? I think everyone's going to agree. We all know who's the king of burgers, and that's McDonald's. So that's an example of positioning. Different businesses, in this case fast food joints or hamburger joints, would occupy different rungs in the ladder, different positions. But the one right at the top of the ladder is McDonald's, and they got there for different reasons, and they stayed there for different reasons. But the whole concept of positioning is for you to position yourself or get yourself positioned in a favorable way. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can try to create that position in the minds of your audience. But let's first talk about where positioning fits into a business or the marketing of a business. And for this, I like to call your attention to my marketing inverted pyramid. This is a marketing framework that I came up with. It's in my book Evolve, Adapt or Collapse, and it's really designed to replace the older marketing models and something that can be used for today's world, today's hybrid economy, where we're at the kind of the walking the tightrope of traditional marketing and online marketing. After all, this is the digitally evolving world. Well, first let me show you the marketing inverted pyramid. And this is how the framework looks like. It's a 3-sided pyramid, upside down. Sorry, my plane was just flying by, so ignore that. At the top side of this inverted pyramid, we have value creation, and that is where you create value for the marketplace. And if we go back to the hamburger example, we're talking about meals that are easy to eat. We've got lower priced meals, maybe they're good tasting, and of course they're hamburgers. Now, after you've created value, you've got a great product or you've got a great service, you need to communicate it, and that's where the next side of the pyramid is, and that's communication. This refers to marketing communication, where you'll be selling and promoting your innovation or your value. Now, once you've done that, you would build up brand equity. Brand equity is really the different things that people think about your brand when they think your brand, or think about your business, or you as a person if you're positioning yourself as a person. And positioning falls under brand equity, because positioning is about creating a brand, being the top rung of a particular ladder in the minds of your consumers. And if you do this right, everything works in a cyclical fashion, in succession. You create the value, you communicate it, and you create a great position, which is your brand value. And this all feeds back in yourself, and they work in a cycle, and they determine a business's strategy and tactics. So that's where positioning fits in when you think about a business or marketing. And it's the same when we think about an individual. If you don't own a business, but you're an employee in a workplace, and there are many other employees, you have colleagues, and you're all kind of fighting or climbing up that corporate ladder, you want to position yourself as well in order to get a promotion, in order to get a raise, or just get a good appraisal. So you want to position yourself in such a way that when your employer or your boss or your supervisor thinks about the people in the office, they think about you because you stand out or you occupy a very positive position in his or her mind. And I'll get to how you can do this in just a bit. So Whether it's a business, whether it's an individual, you can effectively position yourself. Now, there are many factors or variables that can go about creating a good position in the minds of your audience. But I'm going to share with you two, and I think these are probably the most important two, which is why I'm sharing them. So let's go back to our ladder over here. So how do you climb up this particular ladder? Very simple. You need two things. And the first thing that I'm going to talk about is differentiated value. Differentiated value. Now that's very important. Notice the keywords, two words, differentiated value. So let's break this down, okay? Now the most important thing about positioning in general is to have a difference. If you have no difference, you can't create a position, because a position is all about being different so that you stand out, so that you occupy that top rung on the ladder. If everyone was the same and there's no difference, it's really hard to position yourself, or it's really an uphill battle. So you want to make sure that you have a difference. Let's talk about a business first. You can differentiate yourself in several different ways. You could differentiate yourself in terms of a product, having a product that's different from anyone else. Now that's not always possible, because that creates that, means you need a lot of innovation. You want to create something completely breakthrough, but not everyone is an Apple. But that's fine. That's the good news. You don't have to create a completely new product in order to be different and in order to position yourself differently. You can make changes or innovate on the product to improve it. Or you could adjust it or customize it for a certain target market. This target market could be for a certain group of people, could be for a geographical region. Basically, you're segmenting your product for a particular market, and that's a way to differentiate yourself as well. You can differentiate yourself in terms of the feel or the marketing, the look of your imagery in terms of your advertising and promotion, to create brand values that might associate you with something that may not be associated with a particular product. So if there's a traditional product which is more traditional, maybe it resonates with the older people, you decide to make it hip by making it new and appeal to the younger group. That is a way of positioning as well. And there are many other ways you can position yourself to be different. But you have to think, what is this one difference that you can portray, you can communicate, that can help you create this position in the minds of the audience. Now remember, let's go back to that graphic again. It's not just about being different. You need differentiated value. That's a key word. So what is value? Now, value is not just the price you pay. A lot of people think value is just about price, how much you pay for something. That is price. Value is what you get, what it's worth, or what people think it's worth. So value is a bit of intangible, but when you think of a differentiated value, what you mean is you want a difference that has value to individuals or company. So let's say you are an individual, you're at a workplace, and you think, I want to stand out, I want to position myself differently because I want a promotion, I want to be seen by my supervisors and my superiors. And you think, I got to be different. And your difference is, I'm going to dye my hair green. So I'm going to be the guy with the green hair. Sure, you're different. You are going to stand out. People are going to notice you. People are going to remember you. But does this green hair have any value to your job? Does it help the business make more money? Does it help the business be more productive or more efficient? Or does it just distract people because they see your green hair? So having green hair is a difference, but it's a difference with no value. And if you want to own a positive position, that's not what you want. So you want to have differentiated value. So if we carry on the analogy of being at the workplace, you want, again, to be different with value. Maybe you have a set of skills that you can apply to your job that no one else has. Maybe you go for courses and you upgrade yourself so you can bring new skills to your job set. And maybe then you become known for being very innovative or always pushing yourself, learning more in order to benefit not just yourself, but to benefit your job, which in turn benefit the business. That's a very strong way of standing out. Now, this is a moral, issue. I always want to have a position which is ethical. So you do not want to create a position or a difference or make yourself different or value at the expense of others. And if you're going back to the workplace, one way you could be different. Maybe you find a way to climb over others by pulling other people down, right? I don't think that's a good position personally, and that's not something I would do. Likewise, for a business, you want to have a position that makes sense for your customers. So what makes sense for your customers? Let's go back to the hamburger discussion. If I were to try to position a new burger, I'm sure I'm not going to be able to fight McDonald's or not even Burger King. But maybe I could position myself within my geographical area. Maybe I could have fastest delivery. Maybe I could do it at a cheap price. Maybe I could create a burger which is localized for my particular market that no one else produces. These are all ways to create a position with a difference that has value for my customers. So think about it, whether you're running a business or whether you're just an individual thinking about how you can stand out. Think of how you can create a difference with a value. It's not always obvious. All right. Sometimes you really have to look at yourself or your business to see what that value is. At the same time, it's always sometimes really obvious. And sometimes you're so close to yourself or your business that you don't even see it as a difference because you think it's a given. You think that the difference is part of your DNA. You think that, everyone would know this. It seems so obvious. But sometimes you have to point out the obvious difference that has value in yourself or in your business to your marketplace. Because if you don't promote yourself and you don't point it out, who else will? So you have to do that. So look at what makes you different, what has value, and make sure people know about it. So I talked about 2 points about positioning. One is creating differentiated value, and the other is positioning must always be seen against the competition. That's right. Positioning is all about the competition. You cannot have a position without competition, or rather, it would be really weak if you're the only one in the market. If it's a monopoly that you have, really, the position is you're the best because you're the only. That's not very strong. Positioning always works best when you have competition. It's always against the competition. McDonald's is number one against Burger King and the rest. So this is a very important concept. Anytime you try to create a positioning strategy to create differentiated value, it's always against your competitors. That means you need to understand your competitors. You need to know what they're offering. You need to know their strengths and their weaknesses. If you are an employee within a large organization, you need to know who your competitors are. You need to know who is vying for that same job, who is vying for that same bonus or that commission or that raise. And you need to know what value they bring and see how you stack up against them. And if you can't go head to head, you have to flank them. You have to find a difference that renders their strengths obsolete. So if my business is a small business and I'm going against a larger established business who's got more resources, who have a much stronger brand name, I need to figure a way to go not head to head against them, but to go around them so that my position would actually be an advantage to me. I could say that I'm younger, I'm newer, I'm closer to the current generation, so I know what the current market wants. I haven't been around for 50 years and I'm not held down by old processes or old thinking because maybe the leaders for that particular organization are older. So that's a way a younger small business can position itself against a bigger competitor. So it's always about being against the competition. I do like to use the analogy of martial arts, mixed martial arts or judo or jiu-jitsu. Because when you think about positioning against the competition, it's about always using your opponent's strengths against them. So in judo or jiu-jitsu, we're always trying to use an opponent's strengths against them or the size against them. In jiu-jitsu, there's a saying, even though the guy is bigger than you, when you're both flat on the ground, you're the same height. Judo is about using the momentum and the weight of your opponent against them. And if someone's really big but you're small, you probably be faster, have better cardio. So these are examples of how you're flanking and positioning yourself against the competition. So there you have. Those are the two factors you can use to differentiate yourself with value and position yourself against the competition to create strong brand equity for your business, as well as to create strong position for yourself. So let's go to the chat. Let's see if anyone is here, and let me know if you have any questions on positioning. If not, leave a comment. Have you effectively positioned your business or yourself when it comes to the competition and made yourself different? Let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. Now, if you'd like to learn more about positioning, I do suggest you check out the Holy Grail or the Bible. That's the original book, Positioning, by Jack Trout and L. Rice. They've got several editions. This, I believe, is the final edition or the latest edition, and I have just ordered this myself as well because I just want to be kept up to date. I've got all the different versions, but I haven't got this particular version, which I believe just came out a few years ago. There are other people who have written about positioning as well. One thing I would say though, in positioning, even in the original book, they gave lots of examples which will make it really clear what positioning is and how positioning can work. And they use examples as a way to teach. But I found that there was not many resources on how to actually go about crafting your position, how to find the difference, and then how to communicate it in a sentence or in a brief or in a visual, in a way to tell your audience you're different. That's the communication part of the marketing inverted pyramid. Well, in my book, Evolve, Adapt or Collapse, I've got a chapter on positioning. But what I think makes it different is that I actually teach you how to create the position, how to identify the difference, and how to communicate it. And I use a pretty unorthodox way. I use the way creative writers use to write movie log lines or elevator pitches to create a positioning statement. You got to check out the book in order to find out. Well, I hope you enjoyed this particular episode. I had a great time here. Be sure to go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on positioning as a concept. And of course, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you can find that subscribe button. And do stay tuned for more videos. I've had a great time. My name is JC Sum. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.